So the first step in doing an EFP calculation is to first obtain your starting geometry for your unique fragment. So in this case, we'll be trying to calculate the EFP parameters for a benzene molecule. So the geometry we obtained is from a code that we required for our project. And so with the starting geometry, we can now take a look at the input file that we have, which is required for the software package games, in which we will perform what is known as a MAKEFP calculation in order to get the EFP parameters in the form of a .efp file. So let's go straight to the input file. So this is what a games input file would look like when we want to calculate a MAKEFP parameter calculation. So it has what is known as a job control section, which stipulates the units, the type of job that we want to run, what the coordinates are, stuff like that. In the system control section, we stipulate the time limit and the amount of memory that we require, which is usually system dependent. We also have the damp section, in which the IFTTYP section, the numbers stated here will actually give you the type of screening parameters that you want included in your .efp file. Usually for our EFP jobs or QMEFP jobs, we prefer to have screen and screen 2. So we usually go for screen 0 and screen 2 whenever we mention the damp section. We also mentioned the specific basis set we want to do our quantum calculations in, which is required for your polarization, dispersion, and exchange repulsion calculations. So we are using the 6331G star with diffuse functions in here. Then we have what is the most important section in the MAKEFP input file, which is the MAKEFP control section, in which we mention what parameters we want calculated and what parameters we do not want included in our file. So if this line is not mentioned, then we will get the entire MAKEFP file with a lot of extra information that we might not specifically need for our calculations or for our subsequent calculations. So what we do is we mention the specific types of parameters that we want calculated, such as we want the screening parameters, we want the polarization parameters, the dispersion, the exchange repulsion parameters, and we can mention that we do not want any charge transfer or dispersion 7 parameters here. So the T would indicate that it's true that we want them to be included in our file, and F would indicate false, which means that it will not be included in the file. And then the other important section is basically the section which is specific to your fragment. So in this case, our fragment is a benzene fragment. We can substitute the word fragment for the name of the fragment here. For example, we can change it to benzene, but that will not specifically affect any part of your calculation. The second line will mention the symmetry of the molecule, since by default all molecules will have C1 symmetry. We mentioned that because LibEFP does not have the functionality now to recognize specific point groups. Then we mention all the coordinates of all the atoms in our molecule, along with the atom numbers for each atom.
Yeah, it will be saved after that is